This is going to be a completely painless, easy, and simple to follow tutorial on how to use Bitget and some of the key features that make it potentially one of the best players in this space right now. So I want to break all of this down for you and show you what the deal is here. You guys know the deal if you've been following me for a while. I don't move around on exchanges very much. I'm very particular with where I put my money. It's very important to me. So when these guys reached out, I was obviously skeptical at first, but I am going to be using their platform over these next couple of months, and I think that they've got something really cool going on here, and I want to walk through all of these things with you. Now, the first thing that I just want you guys to keep in mind is that this is quite a large exchange already. They're not completely new, but they're also not old. And if we take a look at CoinMarketCap, on the derivatives section specifically, Bitget is not far down right here. They've got a trading volume of 4.6 billion, but this fluctuates quite a bit. They were averaging 8 billion recently, and that puts them very, very high up. And they've also got some of the better fees in the space. You can take a look at this right here, 0.02 on the maker, 0.06 on the taker. If you don't know what this means, don't worry. Just take it from me that these are low fees. You can compare them. These are some of the lowest that we're getting across the space right here. And one of the things that I really like, because this is a Bitcoin industry, this is the crypto industry, and so funds, having sovereignty over your funds is very important. Bitget does not require KYC, and you can actually withdraw up to 20 Bitcoins every day, which is fucking enormous, without doing any KYC. So obviously you got to make sure your security is really good. That's something else that Bitget does well. I'm going to get to that in just a minute. And so this already starts looking pretty appealing. They've also got licenses obtained in the United States and Canada from 2020, even Australia as well. I have not seen proof of that yet, but if this video goes live, that means I've seen proof of it. So if you're watching this, that's great. And if I can share the proof, I'll also put it up on screen, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be allowed to do that. But that is a big statement. It's a big deal to be having a license from jurisdictions like that. And so when I'm looking for where to put my funds and where I can feel confident and safe trading, I like to see signs like that. So that's another good one right there. And here we are. Now, the thing that I want to bring to your attention just before we get into this is that if you use the link in the description down below, you're going to be getting $8,000 as a bonus when you sign up using Bitget. So that is absolutely enormous. It is tiered, but check it out with the link in the description. Before we carry on here, you can sign up and follow this with me while I show you all of the key features that I'm personally interested in with this platform. And we're just going to start off with the tab on the top right here. We've got a section that allows us to buy crypto. And by the way, this is not important. This is just all the other stuff like the affiliate program and so on, but we're not going to be talking about that today. The first tab that requires our attention today is the buy crypto tab. So if you don't already have it, if you don't already have any crypto, you can buy crypto through Bitget, which is absolutely great. You can also deposit and so on, pay with your bank card and all those things. This is fairly standard, but it's good to see that they have it. The next section here, this is where I live. This is the futures section. This is where you can trade the markets as derivatives. You can apply leverage. You can do all the fun stuff. We're going to spend a lot of time on this today. As you know, this is the main thing that I do. This is what I love doing, and it's, in my opinion, one of the best, fastest ways to make money in the world, but especially in the cryptocurrency space. So especially in a way where you have control of what you're doing. It's not like buying a shitcoin and then just waiting and hoping. Next, we have the spot tab. This is pretty self-explanatory. This is where you're just buying coins spot, which means that you're just exchanging dollars for Bitcoin, Bitcoin for XRP, whatever. This is just the very standard trading. There's no leverage applied. This is just the normal, you've got your XRP against USDT, Tron against Bitcoin, and so on. Obviously, there's quite a list right here. Don't worry if all of this looks intimidating. I'm going to make this extremely simple. Like I said at the beginning of this video, my promise is that this is going to be simple, seamless, painless for you, so that by the end of it you understand everything we're doing here. Strategy trading is something that I think is unique to Bitget, but we're not going to talk about it in this video because this is not something I would use. Markets is just an overview of everything they've got. So we've got the spot markets here. You can scroll through this. Obviously there's pages and pages and pages of spot markets. Same for futures, but then you've also got this separated into the top gainers for the day. You can also see the top losers if we sort by 24-hour change. For some reason that's not working right now. We also have hot search and new listings, and this is great because if things get listed and you can see them just in their own tab, that can give you some speculative trade opportunities if you feel like being a little bit aggressive in the market. We then have the copy trading area right here, which I'm going to get to in just a bit as well. This is something that's really blowing up in the crypto space right now. And I've never spoken about it before, so I'm going to bring this to your attention a little bit, show you how to use this. And then we've got some general earn and protection fund stuff right here. This is actually pretty cool. In my opinion, this should be standard across the industry. And what I like is that even though admittedly it's always going to be difficult to get, it's basically the way this works is if you lose your money and it's not your fault, so it's not because of your negligence, your poor trading or anything like that, they will they have a protection fund. They will reimburse you. There is a process, but the fact that this is an option in the first place is fantastic. And by the way, one thing that I think is really, really cool on the top right here, I'm not going to do this on video, but when you are logging into Bitget, once you've already signed up, you can actually sign up on your phone and then actually just scan a QR code to get in on your laptop, which I think is really convenient. Honestly, it's the first time I've ever done that on any website, and I don't know why that's not across every website. This was the easiest login I've ever done in my life. I know it's a weird thing to bring up, but I like to give credit where innovation is happening, and I've seen it right here. All right, let's head on to the futures section. As you guys know, like I said, this is where I live. And one thing I like about this quite a bit is that you've got your simulated accounts right here. Now, on other exchanges, including Bybit, you'd have to go on testnet.exchangename.com. With Bitget, it's integrated into the platform from the beginning, and the reason that's useful is because it's very confusing the way other exchanges do it. I do not like that. I think that using simulated demo accounts should be easy, bottom line, people that need to use this are not going to understand how to sign up to a testnet, are not going to understand how to deposit funds using a testnet. That stuff is really confusing, but Bitget makes this extremely easy. Just head on over to the futures tab and then go right down to these bottom three options right here. There might be more or less depending on when you're watching this video in the future, depending on how they update the platform, but it's super obvious. It literally says demo trading. So USDT-M means futures settled in USDT. That means you trade in USDT. That means you whatever positions you enter will be entered with USDT, and when you exit, you will go back into USDT. It's the opposite for things like Coin M futures. This would mean you're going to enter with Bitcoin, and when you exit the trade, you will exit into Bitcoin as well. So I'm just going to stick to USDT because this is most common. Personally, I prefer settling back into cryptocurrency because I like to have that exposure. The reason that's important to me, and by the way, I know, super confusing. Give me a minute. I will dumb all of this down so that you understand everything by the end of this video. But the reason that I actually like to settle in the cryptocurrency coin is because I want that exposure to Bitcoin. I want to be able to enjoy that, whatever volatility Bitcoin brings. And I'm comfortable being in Bitcoin when I'm not in a trade. So to me, Bitcoin is what I want to keep all my funds in. And so settling in that coin makes sense. But most people are not like me. Most people do not have that risk appetite, which is why we're going to be talking about USDT in this video specifically, but it's all super standard. And actually, that's something that I just want to make you guys aware of before we get into, how this works, is this is all really standard. If you've used any other leverage exchange with exceptions like Prime XBT, in the crypto space, this should all be super familiar. If not, or if you already have, but you're not so sure, don't worry about it. I'm going to give it to you right here. And actually, no matter where you're trading, it should be more or less universal. Exchanges don't like to do things too differently, just in terms of this UI stuff, because this is, in my opinion, the best way to lay it out. So the first thing that I want to do is actually, you guys know the deal. I do my analysis on Bitcoin on tradingview.com. There is a link in the description below the $8,000 sign up link for Bitget. So check that out if you want to get that 8K bonus as well. But this is where I do all of my charting. So I never, ever, ever want to use the chart that that they would give me on an exchange. It's totally useless to me, so I'm just going to go ahead and minimize that as much as possible and then drag this to the bottom, because this is absolutely not something I would ever touch. If anything, it just confuses me. The next thing that we have right here is our order book. So this is showing us live where people are trying to sell Bitcoin. So in this case, we got $23,290. We had a we had a sell order worth, I mean, this is fluctuating pretty quickly, so it's hard to read these numbers. But we had one Bitcoin sell order, and it shows us the cumulative total on this side as well, which is very useful, because if you're trading in markets with lower liquidity, obviously Bitcoin has a lot of liquidity. There's no way any of you guys probably have this much Bitcoin that you would want to be trading in one time. But if you do, that's cool, good for you. But when you're in the smaller markets, not like Bitcoin, but perhaps some altcoins, this section is very, very important, because let's say you want to buy, you want to buy a lot of Bitcoin. What you could do right here is just follow this column up, and that helps you gauge how much you can actually buy without moving the price too much. So that's important. Now, the next section that we have right here is our actual panel where we enter our trades. And if you're wondering how I'm dragging them across, I'm just using these 3-4 horizontal lines at the top. By the way, if you want to reset your layout, you just go to the top right over here and then press reset layout, and that'll send it all back to normal. So if you mess it up, if you don't like what you've done, no problem. There is no issue there. So the current price right here, this is 23,285 USDT, simulated USDT, as you can see with the S, and that is the current price of Bitcoin according to this market. So let's just say I want to go long on Bitcoin. I want to buy Bitcoin down at let's say I want to buy it at $19,500. Now, if I want to leverage this up, the first thing I'm going to do is actually make sure that I've got isolated selected. This defaults to cross. Cross leverage is very dangerous. Do not use this by accident if you don't know what you're doing. Don't do any of this if you don't know what you're doing, but especially not cross. This will result in total loss of funds if you don't know what you're doing. Isolated is much safer in my opinion, so this is what I'm always choosing. And all I want to do here is apply a little bit of leverage. So for those of you who don't know how this works, this is fairly straightforward. What we're trying to do here is, let's say, well, this is great. I've got my available balance here of 3,000 USDT. This is not my money. This is the simulated USDT funds. You're all going to have this when you sign up using that link in the description. This is what you get on the demo account. Let's say I got $3,000 and I want to buy some Bitcoin down at 19.5. And let's say I want to buy half a Bitcoin. If I want to buy half a Bitcoin, this is going to tell me how much that's going to cost me according to my leverage. So up here, I can select my leverage between 1x all the way up to 125. Why they offer 125 is beyond me, because I don't think anybody is ever going to be going above 25 if they're a serious trader. And even 25 is very, very high. But I'm just going to go for a nice, simple 10x leverage and take a look at this right here. And this shows me that if I want to buy 0.5 BTC down at a price of $19,500, this is going to cost me $1,078. And this, I can actually show you how this works out quite simply. Let's just use an easier number. Let's use $20,000. This is going to mean that I want to buy basically $10,000 worth of Bitcoin because I want to buy half of an entire Bitcoin. And if I'm leveraging this up by 10x, we should see that my cost to enter this trade should be roughly 10 times smaller than my order size, which is correct right here. So we've got our current, my open price at $20,000 tells us the current price. That's not relevant information. And then down here, we've got 0.5 simulated Bitcoins with a margin of $1,000 right there. That's how much I'm putting in. The margin means how much money I'm putting in from my account. So as you can see, I'm applying 10x leverage. I'm buying half of a Bitcoin. One Bitcoin at that time would be worth $20,000. So I'm buying $10,000 worth of Bitcoin. And because I'm applying 10 times leverage, the margin that I'm putting in is only $1,000. Brilliant. Shows me my liquidation price. This should be roughly 10% below my entry level. It's a little bit less than 10%. This is, if you do $20,000 and you calculate what's 10% lower, that would be my liquidation price, because that's 10 times my loss. Whatever loss I experience will be multiplied by 10. Whatever gain I experience will also, of course, be multiplied by 10. That's why I'm applying leverage. And the reason I'd want to do this is, let's say Bitcoin, I think is going to go up to $24,000. If I think Bitcoin's going to go up to $24,000, well, guess what? I've got a futures calculator right here. I can go up to this futures calculator, select that I want to go long. It's already selected which futures pair I want to trade. I'm going to put in the leverage I'm using. I'm going to put in my open price of $20,000, my closing price of $24,000, the current rate of Bitcoin, which isn't actually relevant. We'll just put this in anyway, and the amount of Bitcoin that I want to trade with. And this is going to show me what I stand to make. It's actually quite impressive right here. You can see that this is not correct, actually. This needs to be converted to dollars for this to make sense, but we can just run this math on a calculator. The main number that I'm interested in is this return on equity right here. We don't actually need to make these calculations as long as we have this percent right here. And the reason this is important is because if I wanted to trade Bitcoin just normally, I wouldn't make 200% profit if Bitcoin moved from 20,000 to 24,000. That's only a 20% profit, but because I am applying 10 times leverage, I am able to multiply that gain by 10 times, and so my standard 20% profit becomes a 200% profit. It basically allows me, if I feel confident about where the market might go, it allows me to make much more money by leveraging up. This is exactly the same thing as a mortgage. You are putting in a little bit less money than what the house is actually worth, and then you're leveraging it up with the remaining amount. Usually you would go to a bank for this, but of course you don't need to do that in crypto, because that's not how these loans even work. These are not loans anyway, and so you want to put in a little bit less money, but the house still gains 20%, and you make that money as if you own the house fully. If it's $1 million house and I'm only putting in $100,000, if the house price goes up by 10%, I'm still pocketing that entire $100,000 profit, even though my capital was only 100K. That means I've had a 100% return on equity. Plus 100% means I've doubled my money. So if I put in 100K, the remaining equity in the house is 900. That's essentially the leverage here. That's 10x. And then I stand to, and then the whole house price goes up by 10%. That is my profit that I keep. And of course, because my initial capital was so small, my overall gain is so big. And that's the beauty of leverage right here. That's how this works. And so if we come back right here, this allows me to then look at my liquidation price, as I was saying, and just confirm all these numbers. Now, like I said, this is really important, and I want you guys to know this because most people do not talk about this. If my open price is $20,000, my liquidation price should be 10% below, and that means it should be at $18,000. The reason it's at $83 is because this is the fee you're paying to the exchange. When you get liquidated, this exchange with these numbers will be getting $83.19 from your trade. That's basically what they use as a buffer to keep themselves safe, and it's part of their business model. So you can imagine if 1 million people get liquidated at the same time and they each pay $83, depending on their trading size, this is going to be much more or much less. This is actually a money printer for exchanges. So be careful of these numbers. You have to be very, very closely aware of it, and actually it's always a good idea to do things like setting a stop loss as well, which I will show you how to do in just a second. But let's go ahead and set this order. Once I've done that, it'll say order succeeded, and I just have to scroll down to this section right here, and this is where it's going to show me my open positions, following orders, open orders. This is what I want to focus your attention on, and over here it confirms all of those same bits of information for me. This is a good till cancelled order. Basically means it's good until I cancel it. Super straightforward. The order amount is 0.5 BTC. The price I want to enter this is at $20,000, and it shows me that I'm trying to go long, meaning I'm trying to buy Bitcoin. Over here, I can set my take profits and stop losses. So all I'm going to do here is enter this area. I don't want to set a take profit yet, but I definitely need a stop loss. Let's say if Bitcoin drops down to 19,400, I want to be out of my trade. This is a minus 30% drop, and I can actually use the slider you couldn't go above 100%. But I can use the slider to show me, what loss I'm willing to tolerate at most. So let's say I don't want anything more than a 25% loss. Bam, I can set my slider right there, and it automatically shows me that that would be a 19.5 stop loss. I'm going to go for 19.4 because I want to be just a little bit below that key psychological area, and bam, that allows me to punch this in. Let's actually go for the take profit anyway, and let's say no matter what happens, if this trade somehow makes me 300% profit, which would be a lot of money, that would be $3,000, then I just want to exit out anyway. Bam, hit confirm, and that is done. So I can fall asleep now. I can sleep forever, and this is going to work as long as the market actually goes down to my entry level. So this is what I really like to do as a trader. I like to automate things. People always ask me, how much time do I spend trading? No time at all, like minutes at most in a week. I mean, not really much time at all, because everything is automated. I will set my plan, I will analyze what's going on in the markets, and then I will set my orders on the exchange so that I don't need to do any of this stuff. The more time I have to spend trading, the more money I'm probably going to end up losing. This stuff should be automated, and if you cannot automate what you're doing, you are probably trading far too aggressively. That's just my opinion. You can do with it what you like, but I've been in this space for now more than 5 years. I'm super well versed with how trading works. I've tried all the super degenerate stuff. I've tried all the super patient stuff. Ladies and gents, the patient stuff is the way to go, and you can do that right here by punching in your orders, and then all I'd be doing really after that is just kind of periodically looking at the charts and deciding, okay, well, you know what, I think the market is looking a little bit too weak, so actually I want to be stopped out of this trade if we fall down to 19,800, and so that's going to be a minus 10% drop. Again, bear in mind that's only a 1% loss. From 20k down to 19.8 is a 1% drawdown, but I'm multiplying my loss by 10 times because I'm applying 10 times leverage. So I'm going to choose, because I think the market perhaps is looking a little bit weaker, because I've done an extra bit of analysis, I'm going to change that, hit confirm, and done. I've also got a beautiful cancel all button, which is quite useful, and a beautiful more button right here, but we don't have a lot of orders over here, so there's actually not much I can do with this. I'm just going to go ahead and cancel this out now, and that brings us back here. I'm also going to reset the layout, and now we are totally back to normal. So that's a rundown on how to use the futures section right here, and obviously I can't show you, well, yeah, I can show you what it looks like to enter a trade right now. Let's use the market button this time, and let's actually say I want to go short, and I want to use bear with, I need to cancel this out. That didn't work. Okay, there we go, that's cancelled. And let's say that I want to use 5 times leverage on this trade, so let's move this down to 5x. Of course, we can also punch in the number just like this, hit confirm, double check that my number has actually updated. Let me just make sure you can see this. Yes, you can. And let's say I want to use, I don't know, 50% of my capital. That's showing me what it's going to cost me. Remember, I've got $3,000 here, so this is going to cost me $1,500, and then I'm going to hit sell short, and it's going to confirm all the same things again. With 5 times leverage, my liquidation price should be 20% away. Let's actually throw this in a calculator. So if the current price is 23,000, I'll do this on screen. If the current price is 23,000, then my liquidation price should be 20% away. That puts us at 28,005, and my stop loss, as you can see right there, is about $200, $150 below that area. So again, that is the margin that the exchange is taking. Very, very important stuff to keep in mind. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and hit confirm. I'm now in my trade. It's showing this on the chart, but of course, like I said, I don't like to use the chart, so I'm just going to ignore that. And now I've got all the information about my trade. It's telling me about my position, if I've got more open orders, and so on. And this is pretty much just going to keep running until I decide to close it, or set a take profit order, and so on. All of this is super self-explanatory. And again, the beautiful thing here is we are using this simulated trading option. Where is it? It's back on the home page. This is all simulated trading. So if I make a mistake, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to go ahead and flash close this, close out the trade, and bam, I'm out. I did lose a little bit of money on that trade, lost about $12. That was probably mostly the fees, but also you can see the market literally just started to move up when I entered that position. But that's all the future stuff done. Super straightforward. There's a little bit more, that I haven't covered here. For example, I haven't talked about the funding fees and so on. But I don't think that stuff is important for a video like this. Let's move back now. We've got our spot markets. We've already talked about that a little bit. Strategic trading that I mentioned, I will not go over. Markets we've spoken about. Copy trading is the next thing that I want to show you guys a little bit about. This is actually quite a big part of Bitget. They've got over 12,000 traders here, and profits generated from this have totaled more than $120 million. So that's collective. It doesn't mean everybody's making money, of course, but it means that a lot of money has been made using this feature. And this is all about being able to choose which traders you want to use and copy. And the first thing I want to do is just head out over to AUM. This means assets under management. I'm going to press this again because it's not loaded up correctly. Oh no, it has loaded up correctly. My bad. Sorry, that was my mistake. Let me just double check this actually. Let me reload the page, because I saw different data when I tried this. I saw two bits of data. There was this data and something else. But in any case, assets under management purely means how much money is copying this particular trader. Now, you have to keep in mind the maximum followers. You're not allowed to exceed this number. So this person, for example, 𝗪𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗟, already has 500 out of 500 people following him. So it's full. I can't do anything with this. But if I head down to, let's say, King of Dreams, this looks good. This person's got an ROI return on investment of 122% with about $19,000 asset under management. So quite small compared to the other trader right here, but still something worth investigating. It's still not a small amount of money overall. And we can get a lot of information about what this person is doing. We can see the total number of transactions, how many have joined, the followers, and so on. But also what kind of trading pairs this person is using. So we got Binance, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Uni, and so on. And we can also take a look at the profit loss ratio as well over time. Over a month, we can see how this has fluctuated, going from plus 91% down to 74, up to 126, down to 57, and how these recoveries have happened. We also got a split of where most of these trades are happening. So this user tends to prefer trading Ethereum. 72% of the trades happen here, or I should say 72% of the volume, I believe, happens here. And that is quite impressive. And actually, I really like this data. I don't know if you guys are going to be as much of a fan of this as I am, but this shows us the position duration. So the x-axis down here is how long this person is in the trade for, and the y-axis is the profit or loss. And what you can see generally, actually this trader is a bit of an exception, but what you generally see if we move back to me, I'm going to geek out a little bit, guys, because this is super interesting to me. What you generally see is that the losing trades always kind of hang around. Okay, this person just doesn't lose money. That's strange. We're going to have to choose somebody else with a little bit more of a realistic set of data. Let's go for this guy. This is the person I was looking at before I made this video. Very, very interesting data here. You'll see that most of the losses tend to congregate between, roughly the 1 hour mark to the 2.5 day mark. And after this, there are still obviously some losses, but the majority of trades that make it past the first basically 3 days, the majority of those trades tend to be profits, which I think is very interesting. It also shows us that the biggest profits tend to be hit pretty quickly. The biggest profits that this person pulled have on average been pulled within about a day to 2 days. And this data is really, really important, because if you end up following these people, I can't follow this person because he's full, but I'll show you this with somebody that's not full. You can actually adjust what they're doing. This will literally simulate what they're doing. So if this person decides to go long on Bitcoin with 3 times leverage at a certain price level, it'll do the same with my account. But based on how that trade is going and my understanding of this trader's behavior, I can try and game this a little bit. If the first 2-3 days have elapsed and this trade is still not making me any money, I'll probably just close it out because it's probably not a winning trade. But on the other hand, if if this trade within the first day ends up making me a lot of money, just like this one right here, well, I might decide that I want to close out before this person wants to close out the trade, because you know what, maybe I think I know better. So really interesting data, and even if you're not going to copy these people, I just think it's interesting to observe this and understand what it looks like to be a trader. If you guys read books on trading, you're going to know very well things like, you know, if you're in a losing position and you're still in a losing position within the first 24 hours, 72 hours, within a relatively short time frame, if you're still in a losing position, it's probably not going to end up turning around. This trader clearly knows that, because this trader does not hold on to losing positions for more than 2.5 days. Most of them end up getting cut off before the 2-day mark. And to me, that is very, very impressive data. So let's go back and identify a trader that we want to follow. Like I said, I'm just heading to this assets under management. This is the data that I was looking at before. And here we are. This person looks pretty good. Got 496 out of 500. So that leaves 4 slots. One of them that I can use. Again, let's take a bit of a look at the profit and loss. This is very strange. I don't understand why the data looks like this, but let's just roll with this anyway. Go ahead and follow him. What I want to do is actually change this follow mode to a multiplier, which means that, for example, if I choose a 10 times multiplier, we've actually got an info box right here. It tells me that if the person opens a position worth 0.1, I'm going to open a position with whatever 0.1 is multiplied by my multiplier, which in this case is 10. So if this person opens a position worth 0.1 BTC, my position will be worth 1 Bitcoin. I can also choose if I want to, you know, only copy his Bitcoin trades or only copy his Ethereum trades, and then just go ahead and hit next and confirm. I'm not sure if I can actually do this because I don't have funds in this account. Yeah, and I think if this person does just enter trades, it's going to show up right here. So that's basically what we're working with over here. All looking very, very cool for the copy trading section. And guys, this is just one of their features that that they've got right here that are somewhat unique. Like I said, this is becoming quite popular across the space, but I don't think it's completely taken off just yet. If this is something that you'd be interested in, then it does, yeah, just completely automate your strategy. And then, like I said, you've got the beautiful futures section right here, plus spots. So overall, guys, the Bitget has got all the standard features from the exchanges that you've seen around. My favorite thing about this is, of course, you guys have heard me say this a million times. I feel, as somebody that must protect his funds, that it is important, or I should say essential, to have my funds spread out across many different places. I love using the exchanges that I've been used to, but of course, any problem can hit any of these exchanges at any time. And if I'm not diversifying where I'm putting my funds, then I don't think I'm being totally responsible with them. So when I identify places that I feel are safe to trade, that I think have good features, I like to put a little bit of money on them, test them out, and see if I like it. And that's what I encourage you guys to do if you've liked the look of this so far. Like I said at the beginning of this video, you're going to be getting over $8,000. I'm sorry, you're going to be getting $8,000 in bonuses potentially when you sign up using my link to Bitget right here and play around with their features. There's a lot going on right here, and I think it's well worth checking out. Like I said, I'm going to be giving you guys a lot more content on Bitget over these next couple of months, so stay tuned for that. Also, like I said earlier on in this video, they take security very seriously. I love that they've got this official verification channel thing right here, where if you get an email from what you believe to be Bitget, you can actually check if it's them by pasting it in here. I haven't seen this anywhere else, and again, I just think that Bitget has a lot of these, you know, relatively small features. They're not big things, you know, like that login thing or, you know, whatever things that I mentioned earlier in this video. They're not huge, but they make for a better, safer user experience. And for me, safety is always my first consideration as a trader. So, guys, if this seemed interesting to you, go ahead and check them out. If you found this video useful, do me a favor and smash up the likes. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Tick the bell so you don't miss out on this super time-sensitive content. And with that, I'm going to be out. Bye-bye.